Alright guys, so this is the Module 1 recap. This is meant to just discuss any procedural problems with the online course in general and any conceptual misunderstandings or problems. So I also have two screencasts. It took me over 15 minutes to go over the quiz. So that's covered separately in two screencasts. They're all in the same announcement, so you'll see them there. The other kind of conceptual problem that popped up was, what's the difference between an exercise and a problem? And so I want to do a few examples of that because it seemed like a lot of people had trouble with it, and I wanted to make sure you were really clear on it. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So I'm going to jump over to another screen so I can do some writing. And basically I'm not going to call it a problem. I'm going to say this is a math question. And I'm going to approach it in two different ways. I'm going to approach it as a problem and as an exercise. All right, so Joey has 9 toy cars and gives 3 away to his brother. How many does he have left? All right, so let's say I am a first grader. If this is an exercise for me, it means I have a method for solving this problem. I know exactly what I'm doing. I recognize this. And I can essentially say, hey, I just need to subtract. I need to do 9 minus 3. And I've already memorized my subtraction facts. And I know that 9 minus 3 is 6. All right, so even though this is a word problem, if a student recognizes it as a subtraction problem, writes it as a subtraction problem, performs it as a subtraction problem, then it's just an exercise for them, okay? And then if I approach it as a problem, all right, that means I don't have a clear-cut strategy to use. I don't recognize that it's subtraction, so I might not even know what subtraction is. I could draw a picture because that's certainly a problem-solving strategy. So I could draw my 9 cars. Okay, and then I could act it out, which is another problem-solving strategy. I can give 3 of them away. So here's me acting them out. Right, I give 3 away, so I cross those out. And then I would count and see how many are left, and I can get the answer to the question. Okay, so this is a math question. I can look at it as an exercise, and when it's an exercise, I recognize what the concept is. I have an easy, quick method to use. All right. If it's a problem, it means that I don't recognize it as being a subtraction type situation here. But I certainly can still get an answer, all right, by drawing a picture and acting it out and then counting. All right, so that's the first example. Okay, so here we go again, and this time we've got Animesh, and he has 5 cats, and each cat has 2 eyes. How many total cat eyes does he have? So this is, as we like to think of it, you know, a word problem, right? But just because it's what we call a word problem doesn't mean it's a problem for all students, all right? So some students might look at this, and it's an exercise because they look at this and they say, I'm getting the answer pretty fast. Right, that's multiplication. So if I do 5 times 2 and I have my multiplication facts memorized, my answer is 10. And I'm done, and we've got an answer, okay? That's an exercise approach. A problem approach would be perhaps saying, Animesh has 5 cats, all right? So again, I resort to that draw picture. Each cat has 2 eyes. Should be using green here, huh? So I draw the picture. And then I count, and perhaps I do a little bit better than just counting by ones, and I use some skip counting. So I say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and I have my answer of 10. Okay, so this was an exercise approach. The student has a known way to get an answer to a problem like this. This is approaching it as a problem. The student did not have a particular strategy, such as multiplication, in mind, but can still get an answer nonetheless. All right, so one more, and I thought I would jump into some algebra this time. Get out of the first grade, second grade, third grade elementary classroom, just to kind of show you that this works all the way through. All right, so let's say you are faced with simplifying an exponential expression here. If it's an exercise for you, it means that you remember the laws of exponents. And you would look at this problem and you would say, hey, I'm supposed to distribute. All right. So this is a product to a power rule, it's called. I'm supposed to distribute this exponent, and I'm supposed to take those two exponents and I'm supposed to multiply them. That's the power to the power rule. So if it's an exercise, you remember those rules, and you say that the answer is a to the third, b to the sixth. Okay, so that's an exercise. I look at it, there we go. All right, I have found as an algebra teacher that students often either don't remember the laws of exponents or they mess them up and misapply them and everything. So when I teach this, I try to encourage them not to rely on memorizing the rules, but understanding, hey, I know what exponents are, I can handle this. Okay? So if I was approaching this as a problem, I might be acting like, hey, I don't remember the rules, so how could I get an answer? So I would say, hey, exponents mean repeated multiplication. So this would be a, whoops, erase that. This would be a b squared, right, times a b squared times a b squared. Right, so I take the base and I multiply by itself 3 times. All right, I'm still not quite sure what to do. So I'm going to get rid of the rest of the exponents. So that's a times b times b times a times b times b. I'm going to skip over this strange thing that happens from the screencast. Times a times b times b. And then I'm going to put this together and say, hey, how many a's do I have? A times a times a. That's a to the third. And then I'm going to say, how many b's do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still get the answer. I approached it as a problem. I wasn't sure how to simplify it, so I used what I knew. Did what I knew for sure, and I still got an answer. It took some more time, but this was approaching it as a problem. This is an exercise. All right, just a couple more things to talk about. As you are, recapping module number 1, preparing for the exam that comes at the end of the second module, I encourage you to go back into the discussion prompts and read the comments and or posts that I made in those discussion prompts. They're meant to be instructive. They are meant to point out any misunderstandings, to highlight really good answers, to make sure that everybody knows what the correct answer was. So you can go back into those forums and you can search for Kelly Brown, and it will pop up and show you all, of the comments and or posts that I made. Or of course you can just scroll through looking for them. So you really need to do that before you take that exam. Make sure you've got everything. Make sure that the screencast on the explicit formulas and recursion on that quiz, make sure that you take a look at those also. They're posted in the same place that you found this screencast. Make sure that you look at the study guide for the exam. So there is a link within the announcement. It looks like this. Gives some information about how to use it. It's some information in general about the exam, and then I'll just go through a couple here. So question number 1 on the exam is a short answer, so you will be typing in sentences. Please don't think that a long answer means more points. If you say what you need to say, you're in good shape. So know the difference between an exercise and a problem. All right? So the information that just came a few minutes ago will be helpful with that for you. And also this points you towards, hey, in Module 1, teaching through problem solving versus teaching problem solving. There was content on this particular topic. And I'll just skip down a little bit. Question 6, it's select from a drop-down. Identify a formula as either explicit or recursive. I bet you can figure out what this looks like. It gives you a formula. You either identify it explicit or recursive. Those are the two options in the drop-down. This again gives you information as to where this particular concept was covered, where you can go back and study, etc. Okay, so you can do that for each of the questions. This is just meant for preparation. So it would be silly for me to say, hey, no notes or anything on this exam, because there's just no way to monitor that. So instead, I just want to make sure you know the exam is timed. You don't have, all the time in the world to go searching for answers. If you try to do that, it won't go well. Make sure that you've gone through this document and you have written some notes down, or whatever it is that's going to help you be prepared to tackle those questions in a very timely manner. Make sure that you know what you're doing before you get started. Okay, I will grade the reflection assignments as they come in. So there is a rather lengthy reading, but I think it's a really important one. And some students have already submitted. I've already graded like 3 perfect papers on that, 36 out of 36, which is just extraordinary work. I was really pleased to see those. But once you turn those in, I will grade them as quickly as they come in. And when I fill out the rubric, I will be putting comments in there. So if I take off points, I'll be indicating what the correct answer is or why you missed points. And you're going to want to make sure you review that, because if any questions that are similar show up on that exam, you're going to want to know what the correct answer is. So submit it sooner rather than later. If you submit it an hour before you take the exam, I'm not a robot. I can't get it graded that fast. But if you get it submitted and you leave yourself 24 hours, I certainly will be able to get it graded before you take the exam. I will start looking at the Module 2 discussion prompts on Tuesday evening for sure, probably some before that. Again, I will be making some comments within the prompts or maybe making comments directly to people, just to try to help them know where they maybe have gone wrong, or to reinforce answers that were correct. All right, that's it for this recap. Best of luck on that exam. There's nothing on there that is surprising. All of the information you have come across in the modules. I hope you take the time to prepare for the exam, and then when you sit down to take it, that you've got some uninterrupted time. I know that that can be difficult to come by, but I think it'll be really important. The exam grade, counts a lot for your grades, so please make sure you're ready for it. That's it.